Hi, welcome this morning to our first virtual Sunday service. I'm Reverend Sara Green, and it is so magical and loving to be with you this morning. We're going to begin with hymn 208, Every Time I Feel the Spirit. Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist. We're doing things a little bit differently today. I want to thank our amazing guest minister, Reverend Sara Green, for coming and helping out for our first worship service online. Please be gentle with us. We are learning, so by this time next week, hopefully, we will have some of these kinks worked out. But let us know anything that is coming up, and we will try to figure that out. I'm here today on my day off because I think it's really important that we show you all that we are still here, we are still worshiping. As we say, there is a difference between social distancing and physical distancing. So we are working on doing physical distancing so that we can keep our whole community safe. But we are also going to be working more and more online to do some more social interactions online. So I want to make sure that everyone also knows that our pastoral care team is available. You can call 504-483-2918. That's the church number to leave a message for any pastoral care. If there are pastoral care emergencies, the voicemail also lists my personal cell phone. We also have caring@ccunola.com. Beyond that, I would love for you all, as a community, check in on each other. See how you're all doing. The phone calls, which have normally kind of gone the way of the dodo, could come back. So check on our folks and our people, and check on your loved ones. Speaking of physical distancing, however, I want to note that the St. Patrick's Day parade party that was at the Malones has been canceled for today, as has dinners for 6 and the child circle for now. We are going to be reaching out to all our worship and leadership heads, actually tomorrow, to give them access to Zoom. So we can actually still also meet virtually. So we're excited about that. And finally, I also want to note that there's a huge thanks for our February Endowment Fund Challenge. It helps us do the work that we're trying to do, including getting better at recording services. That's actually part of what we're working on. We're going to have a projector and being able to do that work. If you made a donation already, Jolie Bonk would love to make sure that it's properly accounted for and acknowledged. I can send you her number. We're going to send it actually her number through our personal email so you can give her a call as well. It is so great to see you all here today. The people who are physically here, which are few and far between, but we are happy to have you all here. and also trying out online. I'd like to have Reverend Jacqueline Luck come on up now.
Good morning. We're so glad you're here. I wanted to tell you that in our free religious heritage, seekers follow their reason and lived experience in determining what is good, true, and holy. We in this sanctuary and this extended sanctuary this morning have different beliefs and hold that revelation is not sealed, that there is yet much to learn. And likely we all agree we do not have to think alike to love alike. We're very honored to have Reverend Sara Green here. She is a New Orleans-born Tennessee resident, along with her small sheep farm. She works at the UUA with our young people of color. She was ordained last year in Nashville and assists that ministry and is bolstered by community and love and justice movement. I know we're going to really enjoy her wonderful sermon, Reckon and a Fixin too. I can't wait to hear it. I also wanted to give a word of appreciation to our musician, Bennett Brett, who is going to be playing the music for us today, even though normally he has a choir and much, he's carrying the weight this morning. We appreciate it. And our RE director, Cynthia Ramirez, who will be doing our story for us. Sorry, I blanked on that. So, and with that,
gathered here in the mystery of the heart, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the heart,
we light the chalice of our heritage with these words. Mackenzie will be lighting the chalice for us this morning. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge, the warmth of love and community, and the fire of hope and commitment. Let us sing hymn 123, Spirit of Life.
We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge,
Now let us sing hymn 123, Spirit of Life. Many of you know it at home, so please join us. Reverend Green.
Good morning. Good morning.
I want to invite the children to gather around your device. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a story about Anansi and the pot of wisdom. Anansi the spider loves to spin a tale. He can regale you for hours with stories full of wonder, stories full of fun, and stories full of facts too. Because he is so nosy, Anansi knows almost everything about almost everyone. Almost. But Anansi wants to know everything. So one day, he goes to the house of the sun god. Oh, mighty sun god, you see everything and everyone. Won't you share great wisdom with me? I'll use it wisely to spin tales of wonder and fun for everyone. The sun god says, Anansi, I will put all the wisdom in the world here in this clay pot. You must share this wisdom with everyone. Anansi promises to do so. Anansi takes the pot home. He looks deep into the pot, and sure enough, he sees sights he has never seen before. He hears sounds he did not know existed. This is too good to give away. I will keep this great wisdom for myself, thinks Anansi. I must hide it, he says, and he looks around for a good hiding place. Anansi decides to climb to the top of the tallest tree. There he will tie up the clay pot and the leafy branches will hide it. He starts climbing the tree, holding the pot in front of him. The climbing is hard. Have you ever climbed a tree holding the pot? Anansi wishes he had 9 limbs. His youngest daughter is outside and sees what a hard time Anansi is having. Father, it will be easy if you tie the pot to your back. Then all your limbs will be free for climbing. Do you think Anansi is happy to give advice to his daughter? Think again. She is right. That would be easy. Why is it some young pup thinks this or this when I, who possess all the wisdom in the world, did not? Anansi gets angry that he throws the pot to the ground. All the wisdom of the world comes flowing out of the pot. Some falls here, some falls there. No one gets all of the wisdom, but everybody gets some wisdom. This is why, even today, wisdom is everywhere. If you listen to the stories spun from storytellers all over the world, you will hear it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. We normally sing our children out. I thought I'd read the words that we usually sing as a blessing to our children. Go now in peace, dear ones. Go now in peace. May the spirit of life surround you everywhere you may go. In our worship services, there is time for joys and sorrows as sacred time in our worship. We celebrate our deepest joys so that we may lift each other up in time of celebration. And there is time for sharing profound sorrows so that we may not grieve alone. I've been told that you can type in your concern on the Facebook page, knowing that it will be public, but we would be happy to light a candle for you at this moment. And we hold all who are grieving. We hold all who are alone at this time. Know that we're with you and that you can contact the Pastoral Care Committee. I think Darcy wants to say something.
I just want to light a candle and invite anyone else who would like to say a candle lighting. I just would like to light a candle in joy and in sorrow. I want to light a candle in sorrow that we are not able to be here together today. And also joy that we are actually, many of us, fulfilling the social bonds and social contracts that we do as Unitarian Universalists. If we're truly part of an interconnected web, then that often means that we have a responsibility to each other. And at this time, especially for folks who are most vulnerable to coronavirus, for those folks who may be passing along without knowing it, the fact that we as a community and a country have actually individually taken steps, not as a country always, whoops, as a community are doing this work, it is actually part of our social bond and our social contract because we are putting the needs of the community before our own individual needs. So I just want to say that there is a joy, a hard-earned joy, and also a joy about all the outreach that I've heard from members of Community Church UU this week in offers of delivering food, in offers of reaching out to folks. That means a great deal, and so know too that you are not alone. I would like to also at this point, Catherine Brew Jones writes that it is a joy to be able to join you all today. Thank you, Catherine. We are lighting a candle for that joy. Tamara Wright Murray asks, please light a candle for those who are affected by coronavirus and for. Thank you. And for those who have died, yes, in Orleans Parish as well.
Alicia Cook is
across. Alicia Cook,
grateful.
I'm grateful for eChurch. I am grateful that it's allowed my cat to attend. She is having fun. We miss you, Alicia. Thank you so much. Sabrina Himley says, I'm joyful that my grandnephew, who was born very sick, is now home and healthy. Oh, Sabrina, thank you so much, by the way, for the connection. Thank you. We are lighting a candle for you and your family, your wonderful grandnephew. Dion DeVille, my concern is that all of us are subject to so much misinformation. But remain calm, do our research, wash our hands every time. Also, don't forget that you can donate to CCUU via text. I love it. Thank you very much, Dion, our wonderful CCUU president. We will also mention that during our offering as well. All right. So now we're going to light 2 more candles. One for all the joys that have been unspoken, in this case unwritten, and the celebrations that may be happening at home or in our yards or out on walks. We celebrate with you. I also want to light a candle for all the sorrows, for the anxiety, for all the things that are bubbling up inside of us that sometimes it may be hard even to express. We light a candle for all those sorrows as well. Know that we at Community Church UU, whether in person or online, love you, care for you, and are here. We're going to now take 1 minute of silence. At this time, we have a reading from Reverend Sara.
Our first reading is from Susan Raffo, a beloved healer and community worker, magician. She writes this. In Rebecca Solnit's book, A Paradise Built in Hell, she contradicts the idea that in moments of large-scale disaster, there is a frenzy of competition and violence. Looking at the aftermath of earthquakes in California, Nova Scotia, and Mexico, Hurricane Katrina, and 9/11, she shows story after story of how people come together during times of disaster until the military or police come in to reestablish order. That's when the disconnection and pushback begins. As a body worker and someone who used to do a bunch of community organizing, I often repeat to myself, we don't create transformation. We create the conditions that support its emergence. I don't take it lightly that there are people who are dying and who will die from coronavirus any more than I take it lightly that people will die because they are homeless in Minnesota winters, because their partners are violent and take that violence out on their bodies, because in the country where I live, the police walk around with guns and have the right to use them if they feel threatened. Changing all of these deaths is about deep cultural change and systems change. An elder in my community, someone I deeply trust, talks about climate change or the potential for climate collapse. And I feel that's really helpful when thinking about the coronavirus or any potential pandemic. She says it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of time worrying about climate collapse. We know something is going to happen. We don't know what will happen. We don't know what is happening now. Feverishly reading headlines and feeling powerless won't do much except rise our stress levels and burn us out. Instead, she said, we should support each other to feel what is underneath the stress and panic. Let ourselves keep moving through the feelings, through ourselves, rather than getting stuck. Rage, grief, confusion, feel them and keep them moving. Who among us is vulnerable, not just during the future chaos, but right this second? How are they safe now? How are we ensuring that they are cared for and supported? How do we make sure when the chaos rises, as it will, we don't forget them in our panic? Keep the feelings moving and turn them into action, into relationships, into commitment. At the same time as we have these conversations, we make other plans.
We come to community church because we love what exists here. This church is a living entity, and like all living things, we must nurture and give it sustenance. Its breath and its heartbeat, its very life, can only be derived from its living components, you and I. An offering is normally made at this time by the willing and the appreciative. We certainly will receive it gratefully. If you could, text us. Again, I'll give you that number. It is 504-370-2659. You can also go online.
Text Kia back. Text Kia.
Oh, and text GIVE to be prompted to make your donation. Also, you can go online to ccuunola.org, and there's a tab there that you can click on, or of course you can use mail and send it to 6690 Florida Lee, NOLA 70124. Your support will be very welcome. Our offertory is Amherst Willing Billings, 1770.
second reading is part of a super crown, which apparently is a very long poem. Fun fact. It was written by Roger Bonner Agard, and the title of the whole piece is How the World Was Made. It's another Anansi piece. And this is an excerpt, so this is the juicy part. Welcome. Aso, tell Anansi, begin again with the center of yourself, where one part of you join the next, where you become a planet, where song make a spine out of the water's belly, where you start sometimes to believe your form, know something your spirit don't learn yet, where you start to suspect everything in you belong something else, where heart begins at the lake bottom and makes itself question in the universe of blood, where you hold that universe in the well of the throat and sing every world before this one into some place new, into some place the heart needs. Begin again with what heart needs, with not the anteroom but the hurricane, not the terrifying fist, but with the corridors of want and want again, in the washerwoman's labor of river and river throughout the whole form, the heart a weather informing the etymology of the body's grace. Begin again with not the heart as violence, but a thorough labor. Begin all your dances turning within the heart's own gyre, and every word becomes your own, and no weapon formed by your throat against your planet can prosper. No weapon formed by throat can prosper. And so Anansi called the spiders to him to hear this new way to pronounce make. The spiders drum, walk a chorus up to the spot where Aso and Anansi sit, knees touching. Anansi takes a courage straight from Aso's mouth and sing it up to the sun. Because Anansi start to know that it wasn't talk made the world stop. It was the medicine of unintention. Anansi know now he could make this one out of different prayers from the world before this one. He started to believe heart was make for sleep. It's good to be here with you this morning. I, like Reverend Declan said, I'm from New Orleans, proud Noka and Mount Carmel alum. So Reverend Darcy and I were talking the week before, and I was like, I am coming home. There was no ifs, ands about it. So it's good to be here now. I graduated from Vanderbilt Divinity School in Nashville, and now work at the UUA. So I'm here, and I get to preach every once in a while, which is, no, you don't know that you miss it till you don't have to do it all the time. So as a preacher, the tradition of preaching calls me to contemplate and to proclaim the good news. That's the point of preaching, is that there is good news. And that's the thing that preachers struggle with often, but after the end of a sermon, maybe 10, 15, 30, an hour long, it's like this big proclamation of, this is the good news. And in Christian traditions, it's often that Christ has resurrected, or that there's some way to apply the lesson to your next week. And, this week that just feels absurd to wait till the end. So I'm just going to start with it now. I mean, it just feels like we have so much happening. It feels like a weird tease to wait till the end to say, and this is what we're all here. This is what's going to sustain us to the next week. I am going to start with that. The good news today, friends, is that we all have some sacred connection to New Orleans. That's the good news. It's so simple. Are we okay, just keep going. That's the sacred, that's the good news. The Well, for those, if you maybe missed it, the good news is that we all have a sacred connection to New Orleans. Woo! Woo! That's why I'm here. We're all maybe from here, or we live here, or we love someone who's from here. And that is the good news. The good news is that we are connected to a place that continues to reimagine itself, to reimagine community. That's what's going to get us through. And it's a place that reimagines itself in the midst of chaos, crisis, government incompetencies. My friend Amber Burns-Jones says that we are creative, resourceful, and hopeful. And I can't think of any place on earth that rings more true for. One of the myths that I grew up with, even being from this magical place, is that to be successful meant to leave the South. And my mom never explicitly said that, but that was just kind of a thing ringing in my ear. And as I have gotten older, that cannot be more farther from the truth. In the South, our culture, they're gems. They anchor us to our ancestors. They remind us of our resilience, and they inspire our imagination. I mean, a pot of gumbo. Yeah. Right? The Mardi Gras Indians, John O'Neill's story circles that help us organize for justice. Yeah, there's some claps. That's what we have. And I mean, I went to school in Vermont, and they have root vegetables, they have like fun, cute farms, but in these moments, I want to cast my lot with the folks who are here, who are, as Adrienne Rich says, reconstituting the world again and again. Our words, they build worlds if we let them. We can dismiss them or allow them to kind of fall flat and push them aside, but actually they are so powerful. It's why we have them, it's why we write them down, it's why we're up here talking. We're meaning making together. So there are a few that I like that sometimes when I'm not in New Orleans, I have to admit, I try to push them aside. One of my favorite ones to use, but that often I get self-conscious about, is making groceries. Yeah. And I'll catch myself being like, buying groceries. But I think that's the cheap way out. When I think about making groceries, kind of like we heard in the Anansi story, I think about creating sustenance. I think about feeding my family. I think about conjuring nourishment. And so it's not just making groceries. And it sounds a lot different than buying groceries. It sounds like I am robbing myself of the knowledge that I already have what I need to make groceries, or to say a blessing, or to say a prayer, or to create what's going to sustain my folks through moments like these. Another one that I've been trying to insert more frequently is I reckon. I love it. It makes me so happy. It makes me so proud to be someone from the South. So I'll tell a tale about reckoning. This weekend, we are camping at Fountain Blue State Park. I figured being outside will help to lessen the pressure of physical distancing, and there's a lot of social community happening at the state park. So upon our drive here, my kids and I were just dreaming about what's possible, what's going to happen, and of course, one of the most critical questions are there alligators? You just have to know. And then, of course, the answer is yes. And then you have to know, how fast can they run on land? Because you just have to know. And then, of course, you have to know what to do if it runs towards you. So we go through a sequence of Googling things, because we do. And, basically, they can run very fast. Faster in water, still fast on land, faster than I can run. And if it runs towards you, you have a couple different options. You could, if you're gonna run away, you should run in the zigzag.
They get tired very easily.
They get tired very easily. But yeah, they can run fast, but only for short distances.
Yes.
So that's important to know. You can also gouge its eye. Can't even say it with a straight face. Gouge its eyes out. It's the other option. And then the third option is you can snap it on the snout. Now those last two involve being very close to this alligator. So, these are highly unlikely situations, but these times are highly unlikely, so we just have to know. So from that quick Google research, I gathered a couple of things that are important about reckoning in this moment. And I'm going to say it like it's linear, but actually it's happening all the time. Things are changing so quickly. We're just doing all these things at the same time. But the first thing you want to do, if there's time, is figure out what the thing is. Like, what is it? Get a working definition of an alligator, for example. Then you want to know, how does the thing behave? You want to gather some information about its patterns, its history, to know what can I expect when interacting with this alligator. What are the options? And then the third, you want to know what your options are if you were to come into contact with the thing. Because the thing is going to do what the thing is going to do. And really, we're not at a point where we want to reason with the alligator. Or maybe even it's kind of a far out idea to figure out we're going to reason with the government about what to do. So we're going to figure out what are our options. How do we honor our agency in the thing? That's basically what reckoning is. So to use reckoning I reckon in a sentence, it's like, well, I reckon that fork didn't grow legs and walk away. So in that statement, there's a couple different steps that I took. I had to figure out what a fork is, what its patterns are, and then, after the I reckon sentence, you figure out you're going to look for the fork. But you know from your history with forks that it didn't grow legs and walk away. But you would know that if you were an alien from Mars and happened upon a fork. So that's kind of where we are in this moment. We're reckoning with what is happening in our world, and it happens on multiple levels. So I encourage you to take some time reckoning with what this thing is. For those of you who are transitioning to working at home, clue it in that you'll have plenty of time to reckon. In the bathroom, washing dishes. Those are all amazing times to think about, wow, what really is this virus? What are its patterns? And how do I protect myself and my community? That's what reckoning is. We are being asked to reckon with this moment, to figure out what are all the pieces and parts of this system. And not just the virus, right? Like our communities, reckoning with what have we made of our communities? What are its patterns and how are we in relationship to them? Now for Fixin. We've made our groceries, we've ordered our toilet tissue, and now, like Anansi, it's time to fix our prayers for a new one. So there's a couple different examples that are coming to mind, but when you're going to do something, you don't just do it. You could, but it's likely that it's not going to be successful as if you fixing to do it. You got a little fixing to do it before you did it. I was going to build a house. I don't just build a house. I have to fix and I'm fixing to build the house. There's some preparation. And that's kind of where we are right now. For those concerned about using Fixin to, maybe it sounds like a little bit like a prayer. That's fine, it's not your jam. Just return to the Fixin to. You don't have to borrow other language. We can just say, I'm Fixin to, about whatever this new thing is that we're creating. So what are we fixing to do? This is the moment where I'm going to invite you to once again be in the chat and put out some adjectives, some adverbs, some nouns, some verbs about how we want to story our way through this. What are the things that we're fixing to do? What are the things that we're dreaming of? How do we recenter our heart in these moments? Another way people use the word fixing, in a way that I like, is creating a buffet, like a feast. You put the fixins out on the table. And maybe sometimes, well, I don't know, the best feast for me is when there are lots of options. And no one's telling me, like, this is what I'm gonna have, you know? You have your gumbo, but maybe you add fixins to it. People can decide for themselves how they want their gumbo to be. Susan Rappo in the reading said, we don't create transformation. We create the situation, the environment for the transformation to occur. And that is at the heart of this Southern beauty, fixed. We are creating the environment for transformation. We're not at the eating part yet. We're not at the building the house part. We're not at this whatever we're fixing to do, we're not there. And that's okay. It's at the part where we're preparing the table. I'll finish with this, that this fixing to part. Huh? Oh, I got some.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't read them.
I reset my heart by telling those I love how much they mean to me and the world through gratitude.
Through gratitude. Yeah, that's it. So I'll finish with this. This fixing to part is actually a critical part of our universalist call. I'm looking at our children. This is part of our universalist call. You know, we often tell the story of our Unitarian Universalist ancestors as being way up in Boston, but we know that's not the whole story. We know that Southern folks, the people in New Orleans, have been fixing to do a lot of things and have done them time and time again. Part of the Universalist theology is creating heaven on earth, to be fixing more just communities. And part of that is the reckoning and the fixing. So that is what we are here to do. So as we move through this week, I encourage you not only to reckon with and to be fixing to do stuff, but to explore other parts of our history that equip us for this moment. What are the stories we know? What are the stories we can create that help us to move through this moment, to create heaven on earth, to make the table long? May it be so. I'm going to reread part of this Anansi text as our benediction. May we know that we can make this one out of different prayers from the world before this one. May we start to believe heart was made for sleep.
Bye.